So hi, and welcome back to CAIRN Traveler. As you can see, it is snowing again. The last couple of days have been kind of like this. It isn't really sticking a whole lot, just kind of cold and slushy. So my Couch to 5K program is a little bit behind. I got up to about day 5. I was pretty happy with that. Had some good days and some bad. We had a couple of really cold, windy days in Gallup, and for me it's hard to run in the wind. Just hard to catch your breath and everything. This is going to be kind of a quick catch-up video. I had some footage from a couple months ago of repairing the propane detector in the Airstream. So I thought I would post that. Ended up being kind of a more lengthy project than I thought, so hopefully it would be helpful to anybody that's trying to do the same. I'm kind of catching up from the last video was a little lengthy editing, and I hit the 5-day stretch that I was at work, so it was kind of hard to finish that up. So this is just going to be a quick video recap for me, and then the propane repair footage. Got some awesome stuff planned for next week, some pretty cool hikes with some folks from work. Should be some pretty cool footage, so look forward to that next week. And yeah, with that, I will leave you with the propane detector repair, and see you again at the end. Okay, so here's what happened. My little friend down here, that would be the RV propane detector, as you can see right there. I was middle of the night, this thing started going off, hit the silence, thought it would go away, keeps going off. Come to find out there is no propane leak, so it malfunctioned. Couldn't really reset it. There's only a I don't know if you can see here. There's only a mute button. So what ended up happening, I pulled it out of the wall, ripped the wires off the back of it, trashed that one the next morning, and ordered a new one. When I was trying to install it, didn't think to push the battery disconnect, so the hot black wire kind of sparked against the wire strippers I was using to clear the ends of the old wires to wire in the new propane detector. So after that, I wired it in. There's no power coming to it. Did a bunch of research. Turns out there's a inline 1 amp fuse. So let's see if I can show you that. I am super impressed with the way Airstream does these drawer releases. There's just a little latch when you pull it out, and you pull it about that much farther than the slide, and it comes off. And then when it's time to put it back, you kind of just match it up to the size of the hole here and press it in. So this right here is the inline fuse. It's just one of those little circular pieces. So this little deal just unscrews like so, and here's a fuse. It's a 1 amp inline fuse. Interestingly enough, the one I took out of there, the filament still looked to be in place, so I thought it was probably still good, but replaced it nonetheless. So you just pop it in 1/2. Maybe the other half would be better. Pop it in 1/2. And then clip it back together. Easy peasy, right? Well, still no power. So just trying to tuck it in where it won't get hit by the drawer. Still no power. So I ended up unconnecting the new wired in propane detector wires and checked the supply wires, and there is no voltage or amperage coming from those wires. So after a whole lot of research, and finally finding it on one diagram of the Airstream manual for the wiring diagrams, come to find out there is a box under that corner of the bed. By the way, this is the main breaker box, theoretically for your AC and your DC. It's not in there. There's not another fuse in there for the propane detector. So this is the main AC-DC converter, I believe. Most of the wiring is behind here. There is a kind of corner panel under this mattress, which they don't really tell you much about. But under there is both the inverter and there is a 12-volt DC panel with a bunch of junction connections, I suppose. And there are more fuses. There is another flat, what do they call it, a blade fuse, another 1 amp blade fuse in there. So there's redundant fuses on this propane line. The live wire for the propane line disappears somewhere under the stove here. So my only option would have been to completely remove the stove to figure out where that line went. It then further goes behind the bathroom here. I kind of took pictures behind the cabinetry. You can sneak the phone up under there. Kind of behind, there's a little slit up there. You can sneak it back there. Didn't really show me anything. And when I opened this up, there was no obvious, the wire from the propane detector was not obviously coming in here. So, there's a 12-volt panel there. Opened it up, sure enough, there is an inline fuse. It matches up with the black striped wire. It does not match the diagram at all about where it is. Alright guys, so I have pulled the mattress off hiker's bed. And that was to get to this back here. So if I have read this right, so I think this is the inverter? Yeah, inverter, right? Held securely by what looks like one screw. So I need to move that to get to this, where I think there is another 12-volt fuse for the propane detector, which must be the one that's blown, because I tried the inline one, and it's not fixing it. So, let's see if I can set this up and get that off. Watch there be something more complicated as we get into it here. Alright, let me tilt her down there. Perfect. Okay. I really don't want to disconnect the battery or the power right now. So I'm going to hope I can do this without massively shorting stuff out. Alright. Okay. Now the question is, can I just, kind of heavy here, slide this up here. Don't want to pull anything out of there. Got some connections in the back there. Okay. Alright, so now we've got that panel exposed. Don't want to touch anything to these connections back here. These are pretty substantial though, so I don't think they're just going to pull out of there. Let's bring you in a little closer here. See if we can tilt down a little more. That's as far as that's going to go. Okay. So now, let's take these off of here. This is a DeWalt gyroscopic screwdriver, which is probably one of the handiest things ever. Oh gosh. Alright, some of these internal cavities, they really leave them a mess. So I try to clean them out while we're in here. Let's see if this lid will come off. Note the caution sign. Maybe that can head over this way. Also, fun fact: where all these cables come in, there seems to be kind of air gap in there, and need to fill that so mice don't get in. Okay. All right. So it's a little dark, so we've got this light over here. Turned off the battery disconnect. Looks like we still have AC power, which is interesting. So with the battery disconnect, so this is all 12 volt, at least that's the way it's labeled. We're gonna check this out because the diagram is not matching these fuses in here. But as far as I know, the propane detector is the only thing that might use another 1 amp inline fuse. So I hope we don't short anything. Okay. All right, moment of truth. Yep. This, it's not the standard, you know, the little U that you see in most of them, and you probably won't be able to see this. But there's a little, just barely a filament in there, and it's burned through. Yeah. So that has got to be it. Okay. Problem is, while I have some fuses, I don't have any of these kind of 1 amp fuses. Unless there's something in the truck I could steal one from. Yeah. That's got to be it. And this red wire here is connecting to a black and white striped cable, which is the hotline for the propane detector. Okay, I think for now I should probably just leave that in there. Well, nuts. I got a pack of fuses, and I would have thought it'd have some ones, but maybe they're not that common. And I've got 1 amps of the little cylindrical kind of fuses, but not this one. So yeah, only remaining problem is apparently a 1 amp blade fuse is extremely hard to find. Home Depot, Walmart, Auto Section, and O'Reilly Auto Parts, nothing. I've ordered from Amazon, but I may try Ace Hardware, and I think they have a Harbor Freight in town too that I may try, and we'll see if that gives anything, because I'd like to get this project done. It's kind of been sitting on my to-do list for a little bit. But yeah, kind of a lengthy plan just to replace a stupid propane detector. But hopefully once we get that fuse replaced, it'll work fine. Okay. We'll bring you back when we get a fuse and show you the process of trying to repair that. So until then. Okay, so check it out. Right there. So after going to, let's see, Lowe's, Home Depot, no, just Home Depot, Walmart, O'Reilly Auto Parts, AutoZone, Tractor Supply, Harbor Freight, and Ace Hardware, nobody has 1 amp fuses. 1 amp blade fuses. So, from Amazon, this is a whole blade kit. Good thing to have on hand for the RV and the truck. And right there, 1 amp, which I believe is this. Let's just see here. Nope, that's 2. This, which is not the same color as the fuse I had in there. The other fuse was like a dark black color. But this is it. So, time to finally repair this propane detector. There you are. How you doing, bud? Alright, you're gonna have to move, you know. Okay. So, let's bring it down here. Got my fuse. These are off. All right. Let's get this mattress out of here. This is just a hassle. I'm trying to pry this panel out without tearing up anything. Not the easiest thing to do. It's kind of jammed in there. There we go. All right. Okay, this is the inverter. We're gonna swing that out like before. Set that right there, make sure the light's still on, take our panel back off. Now we're going to do our battery disconnect. Alright, battery disconnect is done. We're going right here. So there's that 1 amp blade fuse. Toss it. And ready to go. And we're in there. Tuck that back in there. Alright, and let's turn back on the battery disconnect. And we still do not have a green light on the propane detector. Huh. Let's just check the other fuse. Okay, so let's just correct. Certainly looks fine. We still have no power light. So I guess the next thing to do is check the voltage on the wires coming into the detector. Kind of wanted to, while we're looking at this. I don't know if I'll be able to get down in here. There's a little bit of space where those cords come in. So I'm going to stuff some steel wool in there, I think, and try to keep it from having any visitors with mice and stuff. It's originally going to like caulk or something in here too, but I think we're just going to jam this steel wool in here. Alright, so figured out the problem. had the wiring mismatched. So before I didn't have any light at all. I checked the voltage and it was getting good voltage on it, so that wasn't the problem. Before I wasn't, so changing that fuse did fix the problem. So instead of black to black, it's actually red to black from the propane detector. I got a flashing red light for a few minutes, had to look up the manual. Turns out it does that when it's reset on startup mode, and then it is now green. So I'm pretty happy with that. Alright, as you can see there, we have a nice green light again, so propane detector is working again. And now we just have to put everything back together and we will be good to go. Yeah, pretty cool. Glad this is finished. So let's put this whole situation back together here. So now we've got the steel wool in place around the cables coming in as well, which is good for mice. So we're just going to seal this .12-volt panel back up. And then this, still have a green light, which is good. Set that back here. Not exactly. Unless it went through there. I guess it went through there. Okay. So we're gonna go through here into there. Okay, and we are done. Sounds like a month-long project that's been in the works for a while. Green light on our propane detector, pretty great, and done. So thanks for watching. Appreciate you being here. Like, subscribe, and comment if you're interested in following this content. Hit that bell down by the subscribe if you'd like to be notified of new videos posted. And with that, like I said, some really cool stuff coming next week. Look forward to that, some cool hiking spots, and I will see you next week. Have a great one.